So the topic for today is coding and cybersecurity. And as you probably know, those are hot industries. There's a lot of jobs in the industry. It's been in the news over and over and over again. All different, tech gurus have made all kinds of predictions about how the job industry is going to go. But the truth is that there's a huge demand for cybersecurity specialists, IT specialists, software developers, all that kind of stuff. And many of the jobs, not most of the jobs that are out there, are gonna have some sort of dependency on coding or on any kind of skills that are, for not necessarily like software developer, but some type of coding. So it's in the best interest of any graduate, anyone looking for a job to have at least some level of basic skills in coding. Um, we, you know, there are some jobs that are not going to need it. All right. There's always going to be those jobs that don't require any of those skills. But the truth is that with the advent of technologies like artificial intelligence and all those, there's going to be a dislodge of the industry, of the jobs out there, where more and more jobs that don't require any kind of tech, low skills jobs are going to be pushed away and just eliminated in lieu of other jobs that require more technical skills. All right. And that's something that has happened since the days of agriculture, where we replaced it with machines and that kind of stuff. So it doesn't mean that machines are going to take over our jobs or anything like that. It just means that there's going to be a paradigm shift in the type of jobs that are going to be out there in the industry. And it's more important than ever to have some kind of understanding and a basic skills. There's the 3 R's, or reading, writing, and arithmetic. All right. But definitely coding is part of this whole thing. All right. More and more we see it. All right. And there's a lot of interest in from what we see in students to major in something coding related, game design. That's very popular. All right. And it's understandable. It's appealing. It's interesting. But sometimes what students don't see is that they're many of them are consumers of technology. They are always consuming, playing video games, being on the computer, doing this, doing that, just consuming technology. A big part of what we do is just kind of pull the curtains a little bit and show them behind the scenes. So just to see, so they can see what's back there and how really easy, not too easy, but how easy it is to get started with just encoding. It's not, people think that you have to be a genius in order to start coding stuff. And the truth is that, if you have interest and you start like early and you play with it and you try and you fail and you keep trying, you can get really good at it with just interest. Pretty much like everything else, like the same thing as being a mathematician. At first it was difficult, all right, but the more you try, the better you get. So we see all kinds of different levels of interest for all kinds of different areas. All right, some like Patrick, they go into software development, and they're really good with C++, with Java, Python, that kind of stuff. All right. And we have people like Martin, where they go more into cybersecurity, and there's a lot of hardware, a lot of Cisco stuff, a lot of securing systems, that kind of thing. All right. So it's a very diverse field. It's not the hackers with hoodies typing away at a machine trying to hack everybody. That's just not really how it is. All right. It's mostly people working in an office, working with equipment, all right, creating some kind of script to do things for some application or something like that. So don't don't think that it's just a bunch of hoodied hackers out there hacking away at different systems or anything. So the industry has evolved greatly, and I was just actually looking at some certifications that a friend of mine has. Ian, he's he's the tech manager over the city of Indio, and we were talking back in the day about some of the certifications he has, and he has Microsoft server certifications, what was it, Novell certifications, all these things that you don't really hear very much anymore, and they have been discontinued because the industry moves really, really fast. We have, nowadays we have a lot of cloud services with Amazon Web Services, Azure by Microsoft, where you have different, like server rooms and IDFs and what's the one called over there for us? Just servers are being moved to the cloud. And how does that work? Well, you gotta learn all these skills to be able to manage all those cloud services that you have. So for example, we have a big server room at the college that they're starting to just shut some racks down and just put it on the cloud because it's easier, and you can scale based on your needs. Like during enrollment period, we can buy more cloud services, more machines, more computing power. And then when we're not enrolling anybody, all right, the enrollment period is over, then we just can scale down. So you can save money, all right, when you're not really in need of all that power. So the industry changes quite often, and the latest thing is cloud services. So anybody here heard of Amazon Web Services or Azure or Google Cloud? Mm-hmm. It's not just storage. It's not just putting your files online. They provide all kinds of services. I mean, even you can do game design on AWS platforms. You can, host all your services, put your website up there, do all kinds of things with cloud services. So, and it's a really big thing in the industry now. Just it saves on equipment purchases. You don't have to refresh it every so often. And also for security, you don't have to make sure that your servers are secure all the time. You just basically pay Amazon to do it, or pay Microsoft to do it, and they take care of all the patching, and they provide support too. So a lot of companies find it convenient to just move their services over to the cloud. And cloud is not really like, a little poofy thing in the sky, all right? It's just Microsoft servers, gigantic data warehouses. I mean, just rows and rows and rows of servers and switches and routers and all this fun stuff that would cost a company a lot of money to do it themselves. So you basically just pay Microsoft and put it on their servers, and you can even have software as a service where you just run the software on their servers and you pay for what you use. So industry is always changing. We get professionals that have had a job for a certain amount of time, and then they say, well, we're switching platforms, we're doing this, we're doing that, I need to go back, take a couple classes, get certified in this or that, and then go back to my job or go up in my job. I'll just climb up. Or, it's something that's very common in our industry. Like in mathematics, for example, there's no need for me to go back. Mathematics hasn't changed, but computer information systems, computer science, all that stuff changes a lot very often. So you have to be a lifelong learner and enjoy learning for you to be able to keep up with the industry. But if you're looking for something that is just, you're going to be doing it for the rest of your life and not change, this is not it. All right, you really have to be keeping up, and it keeps you sharp too. It keeps your mind sharp, it keeps you active, and learning new things is always good for your brain. It's always, developing those skills. Just it's something that is very valuable. All right, and as a professor, I can tell you that that's what I love. I'm a lifelong learner. I wish I could be a student forever. So I just got my AWS certification a couple of years ago, and it was something else. Let me tell you, I felt like I was old. I felt like I was not in mental shape to be learning all these things anymore. But I'm like, I can do this. I know I can do it. I just need to apply myself. And every day I would listen to videos or watch videos and read stuff. And it's like, all right, I'm just kind of like a mental gym, getting back in shape and getting in there. And it's more just pure grit, really. And it's like, and I enjoy it. So that's why I say, like, if you enjoy it and you like it, you can do it. It's not a big deal. I got a lot of things, but any questions, anything? Everybody all right? Martin or Patrick, do you guys want to jump in for anything?
Sure, you mentioned something about not everybody needing to know how to code, but coding is invading um, almost every aspect of work nowadays. I had a friend maybe a year or so ago who came to me and said, "Oh wow, have you heard of this Tableau thing?" And he's an office worker, a manager in a I think it was some insurance business, and they use Tableau for managing user data. And what they could do is pull up this Tableau thing and make insights about their customer base. And so they used this Tableau database, which they didn't need to know any coding how to use, but all of those principles that they used to get to know their customer base using this Tableau data come from the programming side of things. So as a computer scientist, it's my job to be a generalist in all things programming, but so that I can identify these specific instances of programming in action where people might not actually think is programming in action, right? So that's one example of programming coming into people's lives where they don't actually think that it's coming into their lives.
Amazing.
So I'm gonna jump over to a quick PowerPoint that I have just to kind of drive my point home. I can share screen. All right. And I'm not fancy when it comes to PowerPoint, so I was gonna choose a design asset. You know what? I'm not like that, so I'm just gonna go plain white. Okay. So this is a presentation about coding and cybersecurity. And I pulled some data, and rather than me just telling you what the data is, I just put some links to it. So this is the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And I don't know if you can see that because I'm not sharing that page. Kind of learned that the hard way. So here we go. Now you can see that. This is our Bureau of Labor Statistics. It's put together by the government. They collect data on all kinds of jobs, the outlooks of everything. So here's one of our cybersecurity jobs. All right, there are different names for it. This is a particular job within cybersecurity, an information security analyst. So it tells you the median pay, what kind of degree you would need, the number of jobs that there are, and the outlook. And this is what I wanted to point out. It's a 35% increase. It's much faster than average. So it's true what they say that there is a high demand for these jobs. So it goes into the job outlook. So the 35% jump expected in the next 10 years. How many openings there are going to be, and how many, and here are the kind of openings are going to be. So you folks don't know how hard it was to find Mr. Flores over here. We opened a position for a full-time faculty member at College of the Desert for specifically cybersecurity, because I built the program and then I needed someone to teach those courses. And usually we have about 120 applicants for any full-time opening. And for this position, we had, I think it was 8 applicants. Out of those 8 applicants, we interviewed 3 because 3 were qualified. And when we interviewed them, we said, well, there's only really one person that has the right degree and one person that we're interested in hiring. So it was Mr. Flores over here. It's incredibly, and that was our second search. We had a failed search already because we couldn't find anybody. It's something that, and what's funny, if you indulge me here for a minute, we were doing a second interview with Flores, and it was the vice president, the president, and myself. And we interviewed Flores, and we said, all right, and I can talk about this now, Martin. So we finished interviewing him. He walked at the door, and I told him, I know who I want, and you need to tell him now before he gets a job somewhere else. And they're like, really? I'm like, you don't understand how hard it is to find these folks. Like, we need to call him now. And we kind of went back and forth for like 15 minutes, and I was starting to sweat. I was starting to get nervous. And I'm like, you don't understand, they're getting a lot of jobs, so please, can we just give him a call now? He's like, all right. So they called him. Was it like 20 minutes, Martin? Like 20 minutes after you left?
Yes, I was in my old boss's office when Baker, Vice President Baker, comes into the office and tells me, "Hey, Mr. Flores, the president's trying to contact you on your phone." And I was like, "Where's my phone?" I didn't even know. I was so nervous. I didn't even know where my phone was, but it was in my bag where my laptop was at. I called him back. He had a couple more questions, and then the last question was, if I go up to the school board and tell them that you're my new cybersecurity professor, will you accept the position? I said, it would be an honor because that's where I started at College of the Desert.
You want to tell them about the
The
next
following day.
Yeah.
So the following day, me and Felix are walking around. He's giving me the tour of the college. And I get a message from one of my old Marine Corps buddies who was one of the managers at Alfred Harris in Greenville, Texas, where I was at. And he told me, "Are you ready to come to work?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then he goes, "Hey, we're ready to hire you, and we need you back. We need you here ASAP." And I said, "Well, I just accepted a position, at College of the Desert as a professor." And oh, you should have heard the cursing that he started doing, because he was so mad that they didn't hire me at that time when I interviewed with him. And I just relayed to him that I just got a new position, and he was mad.
Yeah, I told them like this. It's hard. They're hard to come by. So the numbers prove it. It's projected. I think one of the next slides that I have is projected that there were going to be over 700 unfulfilled vacancies throughout the U.S. and the industry. So there's an immense need for these kinds of professionals, all right? And there's also a big need for software developers, all right? But they both have coding, but there's just different skill sets that they each have, all right? So this slide was just to show you, all right, the kind of need that there is in the industry. Let me just jump here back to oh yeah, this is the next article that I wanted to show you, but bear with me here real quick. So this is a Fortune, fortune.com. It's a reputable news source, all right? And in cybersecurity, 700,000 positions need to be filled. There's just too many jobs opening up, all right? And they jump from 1 million to 3 million within a short time span. So there's not really that many professionals out there, or certified professionals. So at this point, what happens is they start just poaching off each other. And that happens a lot of Silicon Valley, where they start just saying, all right, well, I'll offer you more money. So that your job, you can start demanding more money to just go with their company. I put that in there just kind of prove my point, but let me see. All right. And then the last here of my data is another California, or sorry, labor statistics, but this one is for the state of California. And I'm familiar with all these things because when I'm running the computer information systems program at College of the Desert, we have to rely on data for absolutely everything. So we are always mining data from the state, launch board, all kinds of places to make sure that we don't put programs that are not in demand, all right? We cannot just put something that is not going to be popular or produce professionals or there are jobs out there. So if you look here, there's the information security analyst. They said the data is not available because I don't know. This is just, it says it's not available, but it's, as you saw already, there's a big need for it. Let me move this window out of the way. These are the amount of openings, all right, and this is the expected average or mean. I can't remember which one. So a network architect, there's quite a few openings, and that's nice salary, all right. Database, you're working with databases, nice starting salary. Computer network administrators, all that. As you can see, software developers, it's an immense need for it, and they make really good money, right? So I expect this information security analyst to be probably about like 100,000, something like that, easily. All right, that's information assurance, web developers, all kinds of computer occupations, and the median salary. Not very many need for mathematicians. All right, just joking, man. All right. Let's, all right. Let me jump back over here. All right, and then, come on. So how do you get these qualifications? If you're looking to be a software developer, I pulled in Patrick's alma mater here for, let me just jump over. I'm sorry, I didn't anticipate how this was going to be. So I'm just going to share my screen. All right. And this is Cal Poly Pomona. It took me to the wrong site here. So bear with me. Oh man, sorry, Patrick. There it is. It is your degree. So these are the kind of courses that you would need to take to major in computer science. All right, so software developer, computer science. Not sure what the bio is doing there, Patrick, but it's there. All right.
Me neither.
As you can see, it's a lot of discrete structures, data structures, computer architecture. There's math involved, quite a bit of it. All right, linear algebra, DFQs, and physics. And of course, everybody needs to take stats. Patrick, you want to talk about this one since you actually went through this?
Sure, absolutely. So formative computer science education is very, very math-based. It was born out of mathematics, so classical mathematics. So our degree is very closely linked to math. So if you really like math and you're interested in computers, then I would say absolutely go for a computer science degree. It was a lot of fun. We solve a lot of theoretical based questions, and then more in the beginning. And then moving farther along in our degree, we go into the more concrete applications of software engineering. It's a common misnomer that computer science degrees are software engineering degrees, but that is not true. There are software engineering degrees, but that's more at the master's level. Computer science degrees are more teaching somebody how to think in the way that a computer scientist would think, right? And being able to approach problems, break them down, and solve them. Where CIS comes in is taking those theoretical applications and some of the toy software that computer scientists build and package them in a way that businesses can consume. So that's the way that I like to differentiate between computer science and computer information systems. But what I went through was a lot of, like I said, the formal mathematics. Is there anything that I'm missing?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because we got two programs, CIS and CS, all right, and they're just very different, all right. Computer science is so you can see a lot of math, a lot of physics, and then CIS is not as much, all right. And they, as Patrick said, you just kind of package things to work for business. Just very different fields. There's tons more courses, all right, and some of them are very, CS, but are also very CIS, like for example, like big data, cloud computing, that kind of stuff, all right, game development.
The headlines that you see in both degrees are very similar, but the way that we approach those same topics are very different. So computer science, we derive from first principles. So we begin at the very, very basics from a math standpoint, and then derive the entire field as we move forward. So if you've taken any kind of math class, you would say, okay, here's adding numbers, and then here's adding numbers with variables, and then here's solving equations. And we do that for each one of these specific fields.
I mean, well, like in CIS, for example, we would teach you how to use Amazon Web Services and the services that they provide, rather than building them from the ground up, which is more like a computer science faculty would do.
Right.
So, all right. So, all right, let me just switch back over here. Now in CIS is kind of like our cybersecurity IT program. certifications are very, very important in our industry. So you could have a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, that's fine, but you could get hired with just some CompTIA certifications or Cisco certifications. So I'm gonna just click on those so I can show you what they are. And this CompTIA it's a certification agency, and it's worldwide. It's recognized by the industry, and a lot of the employers, they look for the different certifications, the CompTIA certifications, to ensure that their applicants have the right skills for the job. So they have different ones. Let me just go back here a little bit. They have fundamentals, which is just general stuff about computers. Okay. TIA plus, that's where it starts getting good. All right. Martin, you want to talk about these since this is your field?
Sure. The CompTIA Plus is building towers, fixing laptops and towers, as well as setting up small office, home office networks. It also delves into fixing phones and stuff like that. Then we got the CompTIA Network Plus, which is more of the actual routers and switches and setting up big networks and stuff like that. The Security Plus, all it does is protects these networks that you learn how to build on Network Plus, and then we have the where's it at, Pen Test Plus, a little bit down some more. Right there, that's like our ethical hacking course that we have. We also have Linux Plus, which I encourage my students to go into Linux Plus because they learn a lot about Linux in itself. And we use a lot of Kali Linux when we're doing ethical hacking. So that really helps them out. CompTIA Server Plus, I also teach that as well. And that shows the students how to program a server, how to maintain it, and do all the admin stuff. So basically, that's about it. And Python, we also teach Python coding, which is something that I learned on my own, but I had to take the course and get that on the degree and stuff like that. But I use that as teaching kids how to build games. I encourage them to build it as their final project, and then at the end of the course, I go through their game and then give them input as to how they could improve it or make changes to make it a little bit better and stuff like that.
So Martin, what kind of job would somebody with a CISA Plus certification have?
A CISA Plus is more advanced. That's having like 5 years in cybersecurity. It's almost as the CISSP, which the CISSP is like our bar exam for cybersecurity professionals. So those two are equivalent. They're more of the advanced 5 year and 5 year plus being in cybersecurity.
So here they have a little pathway to show you the different kind of certifications that you would need for the job. So as a fundamental getting started, these 4 certifications would make you appealing to employers if you're looking to get into the industry. If you're looking for infrastructure, like how to build servers, secure them, manage them, and all that kind of stuff, this is the sequence that they recommend. If you want to get into cybersecurity, I'm sure it ends with CISA. There it is, CISA. Or what's the CASP? What is it? What is this one again? I forgot.
The CASP, there's different routes you can take in cybersecurity, and I can show, or you can look up the map of it.
Oh, look at that. You can click on it. How easy is that? Oh, risk analyst. Got it. All right. So it's not, it's very different than how, for example, computer science works, where here they put a lot of emphasis on security or certifications. So if you look and see some of the folks that have the information managers and all that kind of stuff for many of the cities out here or the school districts, they have a wealth of different certifications. Data analytics, that's just data plus. And this is for PMP, project management, that kind of stuff, right? So it's more on these 3 up here. Cisco certification, that's another set of certifications that are, where is it? I saw it's good. No, that's not it. Oh man, there was a link over. Oh, here we go. So these are all the different industry certifications that Cisco is more the hardware of the internet. They make switches, routers, firewalls, all that kind of stuff. Okay. So it's known as the hardware of the internet. So as you can see, there's a wealth of them. Okay. And you start off with a really basic network associate. I think is what this one is called, Cisco certified network associate. And then you work your way up through those. So it's, you know, with experience and all that, you can work your way up to be a Cisco engineer, which are like our Hollywood stars over here in our industry. Microsoft, I must confess, we don't really offer very many Microsoft certifications. We had some back in the day for their server and all that kind of stuff, but they have switched everything over to Azure. They have data scientists, they have even some cybersecurity ones in here. So depending on what you want to do, Microsoft also has certifications, and many of these are free also. Especially if you're associated, if you have a job already, and you're already using Microsoft products, they'll let you access all their stuff for free. All right, Amazon Web Services. This is the one that I was paying more attention to because I thought it was very important. Amazon Web Services is, I don't know, they had a hack not too long ago, and they've had several. And one of them wasn't even a hack. One of them was one of their architects just put in a little extra code in there, or I think it was a character that he mistakenly put in, and half the internet was down. Not that much, but so these are the different certifications that you can use for Amazon Web Services. Again, cloud services, servers, all that kind of stuff. You start off with a cloud practitioner, and then you can work your way up to DevOps. All right, an architect, an associate, which carries, so you have to have some experience to get into this if you want to be a software developer. All right. And then you can start specifying over in different databases and all that. So having one of these badges on your email, all right, means a lot. It means that, you know, I guess the more purple it is, the tougher you are. Okay. So they have all their trainings online. You can sign up. The only thing you got to pay for is a test. The tests are, I think for the cloud practitioner was like 120. And as you go up, they start getting into $300-400 range. And that's pretty standard for all of them. I'm storming through this so I can make it to, what happened here? And then the Ethical Hacking Council. This is the last certification that I'm covering. EC Council, this is your ethical hacking certification. And these are tough. To get these, you have to have, I think it's 5 years of experience in the industry. You have to have already proven yourself before you can even take one of these tests. Okay. So
they came up with a lower category for that one because that one was too hard. So they have the ethical hacker essentials, which is like for beginners and stuff like that. And then after 5 years and stuff like that, you can come back to take the certified ethical hacker certification exam.
So they put an entry level in there, huh?
Yes, they did. Too many people were complaining about that.
Yeah, well, they really want it to be the gold standard, so they may have gone platinum. All right, so in the efforts, go ahead, of course. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so on the CompTIA as well, I don't know, can I share my screen?
Go for it.
Where is it at? So these certifications are stackable for CompTIA, and I encourage my students to get as many of them as possible, because the employers want to see these certifications, and if they're stackable, that's a plus, and they're golden to them. I mean, they don't have to send them to get training or anything like that. So after they take my course, they get one certification from that course, whether it's from test out. So their final exam is a certification exam. So they have one. At the end of the course, I'll ask them who wants to take the CompTIA certification, and then I get their names, their emails, and all that stuff. And then the College of the Desert Foundation pays for their actual certification exams. This right here is like the A plus and the Network Plus will give you an IT operations specialist. And then the system support specialist is the A plus and Linux plus. And then coming down here, Network Plus, Cloud Plus is the Cloud Admin Professional. Network Infrastructure Professional is the Network Plus, Server Plus. And then finally, we have the Network Plus and Linux Plus, which is Linux Network Professional. So I encourage my students to take all of these classes right here. That way they get all these stackable certifications together and they're more attractive for the employers.
Excuse me, Martin. I've never asked this question, but maybe some of the others are thinking about this too. These types of certifications, are they need to be renewed every year, every few years?
It's every 3 years. CompTIA is every 3 years.
The A plus, I believe it's I don't know, I think it's 2 exams, right? And each one
Yes.
is about 150 bucks.
Yes.
So they're not cheap
Yeah, I
either.
have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, as an organization, I would like to know how can you really take this information into the communities? Because really the level you're talking on, you're talking about students or people are looking for employment. But with technology today, you find that everyone is involved and they are left behind. So how can we really take this information or technology to the communities?
So let me jump in. Martin, I'm gonna take over the screen.
Okay, good. Hold on, let me stop share. There you go.
So because what you're asking me is right along the lines of the next slide. So Zubair?
Zubair, yes.
Zubair. All right. So let me share this real quick so that you can see what we're actually trying to do here at COD. So we have dual enrollment programs with actually 4 high schools, Coachella Valley High School being our first. We go and we do presentations. We talk to the kids. We get them into classes that they teach out of the high schools that they get college credit for, and they're aligned with industry certification. So, and then those students, when they finish their certification, we pay for their test and everything so that they can start getting those badges and applying for those jobs. Indio High School, the same thing. Martin and I went to talk to, what was it, 12 different presentations that we did in Indio High School to all their incoming freshmen to talk to them about this same stuff that we're just talking to you guys about. We have to be quicker because they're 9th graders, so they're not really paying much attention. So we have to be entertaining and quick and talk to them about all this stuff in a condensed amount of time and trying to get them motivated to take these classes that will give them college credit and certifications at the end. And the same thing with looking to high school. We're working with Palm Springs to develop something out here in Palm Springs Unified that works for them too. But and you know, that's at the high school level. We also have the Code on the Road program, which you know, our website is not anything fancy or anything like that, but it's our summer program where we work with middle school and high school kids to teach them how to code, teach them about different. Here we got our Secret Playground Express. So Patrick, you want to talk about that since you're part of the Code on the Road program?
Sure. Code on the Road program is a free program for students aged 5th grade to 12th grade. So that's getting them a primer on programming in a very basic sense. So try to get their attention, show them some interesting projects with the Circuit Playground Express, which is a little circuit board, has a bunch of sensors, input and output devices, and try to get them interested and want to bring them into the software development, computer information systems, cybersecurity fields, so that they can learn these skills in their education and then bring them back to their community and work for businesses in their community, provide website development skills for businesses in their community. I deliver the web development course at College of the Desert. And I just had a meeting with a student today who said, I don't have any experience in computer information systems. I don't have any experience in software development. I'm actually in school right now to become an AC technician, but I wanted to take this class so that I could learn how to build my website to advertise my AC business, right? And he said, I'm not doing that great, but I hope to have at least something to show so that when I'm finished with my degree here, I can put something up on the internet and say, hey, I did this. I made my website and I can do your air conditioning, right?
Yeah, so the Code on the Road program, what we do is, because we can't at the college just sit back and wait for these kids to come to us. If we have to start them early, and there's some schools that are really good at this, the others aren't. So this is our effort to get out into the community, and say, hey, we can get you started right now. Just to see the back end of things instead of, like I said earlier, instead of consuming technology, developing it, building it, so they can see how it is. And it's a free program. We have about 35 kids per session, and we started back in 2017. We did it for 3 years, and then the pandemic hit, so we had to stop. But this last year we brought it back, and instead of just having it at COD, we went out to different parts of the community where the need is at. It was a great experience. All right, and it's we talked to the parents, we talked to the kids about the certifications, college, the kind of jobs that there are, the kind of jobs they could have, the type of salaries they could have, and all that kind of stuff. All right, so that's our way of just saying, like, well, it starts a lot earlier than that. The one that we're doing next summer, and we actually did this one a couple of years back, as Cyber Patriot. It's hosted by of the Air Force. Air Force Academy, AFA,
Association.
Air Force Association. And it's for students that are, for high school and middle school kids that are interested in cybersecurity. So we're going to host some teams from different high schools or different just teams. It doesn't matter, Girl Scouts, anything. And we host them. We use our students as coaches to help them in this competition. It's a nationwide competition held around this time, October, where they compete to defend systems from attacks. And they defend from securing servers, doing patch updates, that kind of stuff. All right. We have the certification voucher where we pay for the examination for any of our students, whether they're dual enrollment or college students. And we have our own Geek Squad on campus where we hire our students to fix computers from people in the community. I know we could be doing more. I know we should be out there doing more. So if you got any suggestions, I'm listening.
My gosh, I have plenty of, I see such amazing need that wherever I have been, that we need to jump into this and assist you to give these students an opportunity to tap into these amazing programs. And so we'll make it happen.
Thank you. Stop sharing.
Excuse me. So when I look at your presentation, it's really very, very good.
Thank you.
But does it mean that this field is for only kids? How does an older person come in?
No, we have quite a few adult students. And if you walk into our classroom, it's a good mix. All right. And to be honest, for a while we were mostly male. All right, but this year we have about maybe like 6 females, which is a lot for us, for the industry. It's a mainly male predominant field, but we do have quite a bit, I'll say more than most adult students, where they're just folks who want to just changing career, returning veterans, that kind of adult, where they just want to do something else and they're not really interested, because we have transfer degrees for those who want to go on to master's degrees and beyond. But a lot of them just want to say, look, I just want to take enough courses to where I can get a job in the industry. It's like, I got a sequence for you. So just give me a year, I'll get you 2 certifications, 3 certifications, and you can start applying for jobs with that. And that's incredibly appealing, rather than having to take calculus or statistics or anything like that. It's like, no, you come to us, you'll take our courses, you get those certifications, and you go in the industry. So we have quite a few of adult learners, and I always try and get the word out. I try to get the word out to, and I know I focus on kids. You're right about that, but we do work with a lot of the parents from the code program, and I'm handing them flyers, and I'm trying to get them into the program too. I'll talk to anybody. And when we were just at the college fair in Agua Caliente last week or a couple of weeks ago, I talked to a lot of kids, and I talked to a lot of parents too, just saying, if you're interested, this is something that is for everybody. You know, we're a college, so we have everybody, all right, adults, kids, women, pregnant women. We have all kinds of we serve everybody.
One more thing, I'm sorry to
Oh no.
bit. Yeah, when you look, I'm from we are One United. We're a small organization so far. And mainly when you look at nonprofit and even small businesses that are starting and according to how much these individuals are supposed to be paid, it's very expensive for small organizations to hire a person of that. What kind of advice would you give us as a small organization or a small business? How can we get this kind of skills, or how can we really get organizations to have people like that?
To hire, you would like to hire like a cybersecurity professional?
Because when you look at the payment, it's too expensive. Is there any way that we would like to hire if we have enough money, but sometimes we don't? So do you have any kind of advice you would give a small business or a small organization? How can we do that?
Like I was saying earlier, maybe using cloud services, where
Yeah.
if you can put stuff on the cloud and just pay a fee to either Amazon or Microsoft for them to host all the services that you're providing, or run your payroll, do that kind of stuff. You could use that, and that way you don't have to hire a cybersecurity professional. You can just let them handle all that stuff. You don't have to put servers or worry about runtime or anything like that. You just put it on their servers and let them manage it. And your fee, depending on your usage, won't be anywhere close to what it would be hiring a cybersecurity professional. But then again, you won't have that one-on-one, like, let me just go to talk to Charlie down the street or something like that. So it's different. It's just a different approach, but if you're looking to save, definitely with cloud services would be the way to go.
I recommend platform as a service because it encapsulates infrastructure as a service and platform as a service, which is applications you can run as well as the IT infrastructure. That is what I was talking to my students, as a matter of fact, last week about that. If they're starting a small business, their own cybersecurity business, when they graduate, these are the type of services that they would provide if they want to start up their cloud service for people, that small businesses. And infrastructure is like the beginning stuff. So all they do is compute, networking, and storage resources. And then if they do the platform as a service, is a little bit more that, all the applications that they want to run, they'll run them for them, and also the infrastructure.
Thank you.
Just some feedback from me. I think there's such a lack of knowledge in this field as educators, because it's kind of scary when you say all what you're saying. But I think it's vital that we kind of find a immersion at 5th, 6th, 7th grade levels, hands-on immersions, because this is a very important part of education for the future of this country.
Agreed.
So I think educating teachers, collaborating with them in a very creative way to bring this message into our communities and to our students especially is very important. So I think at 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th grade levels, we need to be doing hands-on activities that will stem into this interest. Because right now we focus so much on reading and writing, and I work at the as a counselor at the Boys and Girls Club. I have 63 kids. They are awakened. If they have this just a little bit of more interest in getting them interested in these fields, I think they will grow and they flourish. But so I think we have to, as you know, in working with this youth, we need to start moving in this direction fast.
I agree with you, Jilska. Our proposal for Code on the Road, you know, we wrote it, we put it together, we pushed it to everybody that would listen. That's one of the things that we mentioned. Study after study shows that you can have the biggest difference when in the middle school range. So you provide some kind of intervention in the middle school and then some scaffolding all the way up to college. So that's why we built the program first at COD, and then we worked with the high schools to make sure that there's something in there. And the Code on the Road program is to work with those middle school kids to get them on the right track all the way into those certifications in college and jobs that they can get. It's you know, they ask me like, well, this is not really, those kids are not really college, and it's like you're thinking about it short term. You know, the time vector is unforgiving. You cannot just sit back and say, oh well, they're gonna come to us. It's like, no, we have to start early and grow them. They're all our kids. They're not the school district's kids. They're not College of Desert kids. They're all the Coachella Valley kids. You know, we have to work with them to bring them up and just raise them in this field, that have them open their eyes, show them behind the curtain, so that by the time they get to us, they're not afraid. And they're like, oh, well, no, I don't know about computers. That's not for me. It's like, oh, no, I saw that. I know. I've been in there. I know what it is. I know how to deal with it. So it's really important, like you said, that middle school. That was always the goal, to get to that point so we can start just raising them.
I have a question.
I know we're about
then.
to end. Oh,
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Now we actually kind of went to my question. You probably get this a lot, but one of the reasons why people get scared of programming is because there's so much when it comes to mathematics or calculus demands. So I know you get this a lot, but so without it, are they doomed, or are there some fields where they actually can
Absolutely
go to
not.
without needing it? Because I remember your course was just like advanced calculus 2. So a lot of people get scared because there is sometimes not really good math education in middle schools or in high schools in general.
Yeah, we have those two programs. Yeah, computer science and computer information systems. And a lot of students don't know the difference, so they just say computer science. And then they look at the courses that they need to take and they're like, whoa, that is way more math. And I love math, all right, it's my passion. But they see it and they're like, this is not for me. I didn't sign up for this. And I built the EDGE program, what, 11, 12 years ago now. And I talked to at least 400 or 500 incoming freshmen, and they don't know. And they're like, well, I want to do computer science, but I'm not really into all that math. I'm like, all right, we got to talk. Come over here. CIS is more for you. Would you like, you know, are you into IT and towers and gaming? And then they're like, yeah, that's exactly what I like. And I'm like, all right, you need to take statistics because everybody has to take stats, but none of that heavy math stuff that is associated with a computer science degree. And, you know, computer science and math, they go hand in hand, all right? But there's a lot of stuff with hardware, and like Patrick said, a lot of stuff that's prepackaged that you don't really need all that math. So
okay,
Patrick,
thank you. So there's a future for them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's well, Patrick, I'll let you talk. I talk too much.
Sure. I started in computer science at College of the Desert, and when I saw that I had to do 6 years of math, I was like, I'm not doing that. So I finished my business degree and I transferred to Cal State and did cybersecurity. Had no math, all right, none. So and I kept going. You know, once I started, I just couldn't stop, and I'm still going. I'm still going for my second master's. So they shouldn't be scared. Same thing with females, because I have a cybersecurity club at College of the Desert, and they're scared. They're like, I don't know anything about hacking or anything like that. I said, guess what? Well, you're gonna learn in the club, because you're gonna compete against other universities, other individuals. On Friday they have the individual competition, against other students from universities and colleges around the United States. And then on November 4th, they have the team competitions, which I have 4 teams of between 8 to 5 members. And I have an all-female team. And they don't know anything. They just started this year and they're learning and they're telling me, I'm so glad I joined the club. I'm learning so much more than the average student.
Yep. Not learning math.
Not learning math.
Yeah,
it's
and
fun.
I taught myself everything that I know about programming except for the math part. The only thing that I needed to learn to get my degree was the math part. So I did go through the 6 years of math that it required to get my degree, right? Just because that's just the path that I was already on. You know, it is what it is. It's the path that I took. So it is possible to learn programming without going through the pre-calculus, the calculus. But those who are going into game development, they do need to know at least trigonometry. But to go through to be in the computer field, you don't need to know the advanced math, the calculus 1, calculus 2, linear algebra.
It's a requirement, but it's really, I mean, you heard it from the man. It's not really necessary. So
Thank you. So trigonometry for game design, that's,
Yep.
I didn't know, so that's pretty interesting.
oh yeah,
At least.
angles, you know, the unit circle, all that fun stuff. You need to have that.
Yeah, thank you for your answer.
So one question, because I know we don't have more time right now, but really most of the time we're made of negative and positives. And most of the time what we hear from anything is the positives. I would like to hear from you, the experts. What are the disadvantages of coding, if they are?
It's a good one. Well, you're going to be sitting down a lot. All right. If you're into software development, all right. In IT and cybersecurity, I don't know, Martin, you go for that one.
Or Python and stuff like that.
Well, for cybersecurity, what would you say is a negative? I know that
The negatives is like if you're almost like a police officer, you got shifts, first, second, and third shift. If you're working for a big company that's a big cybersecurity company, you'll be working shifts. That's the only bad part about it. About coding is just once you start learning coding, it's trial by error. You're gonna have a lot of errors, more errors than you can ever think. But once you get the program up and running, that you should be good to go. It's time consuming. That's why I start my students at it's a 16-week course, the Python course, and I start them at 8 weeks. I tell them, start looking for your project. Here's a list of things you can do, and then start coding it. That way, by the time the course ends, they submit their final project, and I grade it and give them feedback and stuff like that. But when I started coding on my own, it was just that. It was just trial and error, and it was frustrating at first. But once I got into the correct way of coding, then it was easy. I mean, you just got to keep doing it, because if you don't use it, you lose it. And that's one thing that I tell my students: if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah, if I can just say something to that on the tail end, Martin pretty much said it for me, but as far as the negative would be concerned, is the reason why I mentioned before about how often you need to recertify for these types of certifications and standards is within 2 years, 3 years, 1 year in some cases. So our society on a whole likes to get very comfortable in this stagnation in their jobs. They like to be comfortable doing the same thing over and over again, and they don't get out of their comfort zone. With coding, with computer science, computer information systems especially, you're constantly learning. It's a constant learning environment. If you don't stay with that, if you don't have that type of personality, that could be a deficit. So that's my contribution. You're always
Marcus, our lab specialist at the college. He's the one that takes care of all of us.
Thank you.
So, any more questions? I'm all geared up to dive in and get you to get into these programs. So, any questions? Any questions, Diane? Educators here.
I can ask for Diane. how can we take, because we are One United, we have a program where we're looking at international. How can we really tap in the information and the knowledge that is there if we were like a small organization working in Africa or working in Asia? How can we tap in that? That is there a possibility that maybe licensing or whatever?
For certifications?
Because yeah, I don't know, because I'm not sure if, for example, we have softwares that we're using here as we are One United, can we transfer that to our partners to be able to be used over there, or it is not possible?
Well, if you're using platform as a service, like Martin was mentioning it, yes, as long as they have your login credentials and you're paying for that service, you can use that throughout your organization, regardless of location. They have servers, like if you're establishing a server somewhere, like you're spinning up an instance or something like that, you can even spin it up close to wherever you're planning on offering services. Like they have data centers all over the world. So if you're somewhere in Africa and you need to establish some kind of server, local server, they do have services in some parts of Africa. They know they have one in Iowa, Seattle, all, South America, Central America. And if you have their services, there's not a different license depending on where you access it from. It's just you're part of the organization and you're paying for the access. You got it.
This is kind of where I wish Jim Powell was here, because he used to work building network hubs in Africa, India, South America, all over the place as part of his Trinity organization for many years, from the ground up on reusable parts and stuff. So he had a lot of connections to do that kind of service. But,
Yeah, Professor Powell teaches programming for us also.
Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate it.
Thank you very much. My goodness, I hope this is not the last time we see you, that we can all meet again soon and have a partnership, because I think every one of us has, gosh, it's amazing that we have such great experts in the desert, right in our neighborhoods, and we are not making use of it.
They're all our kids, so we work hard for all of them.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you for the invite.
College of the Desert students. I'm a College of the Desert alumni too.
Awesome.
I
put my contact information in the chat. If anybody wants to shoot me an email or anything, feel free.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you, and have a wonderful evening.